Yo, welcome back. The 6-0 podcast is back. Football season's back with my roommate and guest host over here, Trey Farrow. Another special guest who's now walking over here, Davis Stein. And we're presented by Busch Light.
Busch Latte.
Thank you. Now we get money.
The beer of college football season.
You might notice that Walker is not here. He is on a Nashville-Athens bender, so he will not be joining us.
Research trip.
Yeah, research trip. So I have these two guys instead.
Thanks for having us. Thanks. Yeah,
God
appreciate
bless.
it.
Yeah.
By default.
Yeah. So we're back. So let's just get right into it with Heisman Trophy, David.
We're starting off with the biggest award in the sport.
Yes.
That's how we do it on the 6-0 podcast.
Who do you think's a dark horse, and who do you got winning?
Wow. You just asked the same goddamn question.
Oh.
We're starting the 6-0 podcast out with David Stein's long shot bet of the week.
Straight cash, homie.
Nice.
This one, it is a long shot. Vegas has it at plus 8,000. So get your phones ready. We got Quinshawn Judkins. We got Judkins at plus 8,000. I think Will Howard's going to be some slight mid, but Ohio State's still going to be a great team. So you got to give it to somebody on Ohio State. I know he's splitting the backfield, but Reggie Bush split the backfield with Lindell White. Still had it in store here. So Quinshawn Judkins.
I like it. Trey, what do you think? Give me a dark horse, and then give me your winner. Or both, if it's both.
I'll start off with the favorites. I would say Carson Beck's up there, maybe like a 1A. Dylan Gabriel, maybe a 1B. He'll probably put up crazy numbers on a good team. A dark horse. I'm going to go with LSU's quarterback. They're still going to be in a full spread offense.
Nussmeier.
So he's going to throw the ball 30 to 40 times a game. He's going to put up numbers. So I think the offense line.
Back-to-back LSU quarterback.
It's possible.
Trophy winners.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Kyler and Baker. Yeah.
Well, who you got winning it?
I'm going to go with Dylan Gabriel. I'd like to win it. I think
Good
Beck's
job.
the best NFL prospect, but I would say Dylan Gabriel wins it for the Heisman.
Okay. So I'll go with the same team as you for my dark horse. Now this is super out there.
Ooh, I know where you're going.
Caleb Downs.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know where you were
I
going.
I saw that he might play a little offense. Let's see if that happens. But if it does, there could be a chance, honestly, if no quarterback steps up or anything, and you're just in Ohio State, undefeated, number one team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
They could definitely give it to Caleb Downs if he plays offense.
To that note,
I don't know what his plus or his odds are for it, but probably a lot. So
to that note, I'll throw a name out there, and obviously some recency bias. We are recording this on Friday night of week 1. Travis Hunter, if he plays the way he
not
played,
even a dark horse.
it's not. But it's just a name I'd like to throw out there
I
for
was
that
thinking-
reason, because that team outside of two specific players looks very similar to last year.
I was
so.
thinking him or Shador, but Colorado is
If they
nice.
go
I just don't.
If they go 8-4, maybe.
Quarterback's got to. Feel like for quarterback, he's got to win more games. Travis, they're going to be like, oh, what can he do if he's scoring 3 touchdowns and playing?
They would still have to be I feel like
they got to be
for either one of them. They got to be if they go 8-4, exceed expectations like that.
Yeah.
They don't even have to go to the conference championship. But if they're really good, the media's gonna love it and everything. And Travis Hunter continues to look like he did last night. I can definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
Or Shador, either one of those two. Mm-hmm. The one I'll pick, the win. I've told Trey, I think Jalen Milroe has good odds. Just given DeBoer in his offense, maybe he can transform into a passer more. But I'll go with Beck. I'll be biased. Beck. If UGA's 12-1, 13-0, and he's doing his thing, just another case if nobody else is just going wild. I think we'll pass a little bit more. Receiver groups a little deeper. I'll go Beck, but I'm not confident in it. I think you can make a case for a lot of guys.
I like it because just the thing with Beck is going to be more. I think it's going to be more about opportunities and big moments than it is going to be about statistics. The big games, I think,
He's going to be in the big games.
if he has, I think if we're blowing every team out, then he's not going to win it. But if he has a close game against Texas where he has to lead us down, a close
Ole
game
Miss.
against Alabama, Ole
Yeah.
Miss, SEC championship, I think his Heisman candidacy is more going to be like the clutch factor. I'm carrying these team in big moments than he's going to be
Yeah.
out there with the stats because a guy like Dylan Gabriel is going to have better stats, I think.
Yeah.
No, that's
That's
what
a good point.
That's
I didn't even
that's
think
the only
about
thing I
that.
worry with Beck. Like Oregon's probably definitely the clear third best team I'd say right now going into the year after Georgia and Ohio State since Texas is down a couple backs now. Plus they're in the SEC in the first year. I don't know if they can really run the table or anything like that, but I think it's pretty evident that Beck and Gabriel are probably the two favorites right now.
Do you like Ewers better now with the running back injuries for Heisman?
I think Ewers has a chance. I mean, I think he's like a borderline first, second round draft pick, and I would say, he's gonna put up pretty good numbers. He improved a good bit last year, but I still would lean Beck and Gabriel, but it's possible. I would say.
All right. I love it. Nice. All right, next. This will be, we're only doing like 3 topics here, so nothing too crazy, but playoff predictions. We'll basically know everybody's conference champ, so kind of just predictions and all that. Give me the seed and who you have, and then I guess that's who beats who in semifinals, etc. So,
Okay.
Trey, you want to start this one out?
I'll start off with my 4 conference
I
champs.
think we all do 4 conference champs and then go round by
Yeah.
Definitely,
First 2 out that just made the cut. If you
I didn't
can
do
think of that. I don't know.
Definitely 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State. I'm gonna go with 3 being Utah, 4 Clemson as the ACC champ. That's my prediction right now.
Okay. Oh, my turn.
Sure.
No.
I'll go Ohio State, Big Ten. I'll go UGA, SEC. I feel like those are just as of right now, you could throw in Oregon, but I feel more confident in UGA, Ohio State versus like the field, if that makes sense.
I agree.
3, I'll go Utah. Cam Rising's a stud. Coach Whittingham is one of the best coaches in college football. I feel like they'll come in there, and it'll be crazy. It'll be a close race, but I'm just going to go with the experience and everything with Utah. 4, the U.
Yep.
I'm going with Miami. I mean, I was thinking this before the Florida State disaster last week. But Florida State kind of looking like trash kind of makes me feel a little bit more confident in it.
They hit the portal hard.
That Cam Ward's a stud. Coach Cristobal, they were good when he was at Oregon, so, got built something and everything, so. And I think their schedule's not too bad, so they don't play Clemson. They got Florida State, but I don't remember if that's at home or what, I'll be honest.
Florida State too scary right now.
And I don't think they play like Notre Dame or anything, so
it's
not that matters, but just like for
If they
schedule-wise.
If they beat Florida week 1, the hype will
Yeah,
get big.
I agree with that.
On
And
the road.
the thing that does concern me, they're the trendy pick right now. So I've seen some media peeps, picking Miami and everything too. So are they just gonna let everybody down like they always do?
Mhm.
I could see it, but I can't pick the favorites for every conference. So I
Yeah.
pick the favorites for the first 3. So might as well switch it up.
I hear you.
Dave.
All right, so same 1-2 for all of us. I've got Ohio State, I believe, at 1.
I did too.
Let me check. No, I did not. I had Georgia at 1. I had
okay.
Bulldogs. I had Georgia at 1. I went Georgia at 1. I'm looking at the schedule. Alabama without the Nick Saban factor. I'm not as scared about that game. Texas could be a loss there, but they're not losing more than 1 regular season game. And then you've got the SEC championship. They'll be ready for that, especially if they have a loss. I think they'll come more ready for that. So I have them at 1. I feel like they're going to be a little bit more impressive given that schedule during the regular season. But I think Ohio State's going to be right there at 2. And then, let's see, who do I have? I've got At 3, I've also got the U. So I went the U as well.
Miami or
okay.
Utah?
Wait, which U? Utah or Miami?
No, Miami. Sorry,
Oh,
Miami U, the original U, not the Utes. ACC particularly weak. I think they're kind of gonna cannibalize themselves
I agree
there.
with that. Trey and I were talking like a week ago. I'm like a week or so ago before the Florida State game. I just have to say before the Florida State game just to like.
We were not big on Florida State.
Yeah, we're not Florida
This
State
was
guys.
prior.
We were Florida State guys.
The 6-0 podcast fans will call me out. This was prior to the Florida State game as well.
So, but I was telling him, I'm like, I don't like Florida State and Clemson. I feel like you can put them at 1-2 in the ACC. Like, I don't think that's bold or anything like insane. But I feel like the gap is not as big as everyone kind of makes it out to be. Like Virginia Tech's there too. I mean, NC State didn't look that great yesterday, but they're a solid team. Georgia Tech, obviously, now after being Florida State, like maybe they're for real. I mean, SMU too. There's some teams that could potentially make a run. Louisville too. Like, there's some teams that could definitely like.
They're
make
a
run
deeper
for something.
conference than they've been.
Yeah,
in a
I
long
think they're
time.
deeper, but like, yeah, is it Florida State and Clemson versus like, on another level? I don't think so.
I would say
Obviously, at this point.
Miami and Clemson to me are the two best.
Yeah. I mean, do I think my top 4 seeds are going to be the top 4 teams whatsoever?
Probably not.
No. The 3 and 4, I just think are the conference champions, and they could be top 12 teams. But
Yeah.
I could see Miami being a 2-3 loss team at that.
Yeah, that's the thing. You could be ranked like 7
Yeah.
and end up being the 3 seed.
And that kind of goes nicely into my next pick, where certain insiders, Walker Nunez, will do their research and say maybe this pick was because of my college football 25 dynasty. Maybe. And they would be wrong. They would be wrong. This is a clear, they will be the Big 12 champion. West Virginia.
Ooh.
The Mountaineers will win the Big 12 conference, beginning with a win tomorrow on Big Noon against Penn State.
Ooh.
They will win Penn State. They will get in that momentum. I'm not saying they're going undefeated or anything, but 2 losses, 2 Big 12 losses, and then a win in the Big 12 championship to get the 4 seed.
And honestly, that's something with the Big 12 too. Like, there's like 8 or 9 teams you can make a case that can win the thing.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of my logic. I'm like, man, I really trust like nobody, so I'll just go with the favorite. That was just kind of my logic. But like, yeah, they're the bunch of teams that you could definitely make a case for. Like, that's definitely going to be the most competitive conference, I think. So it'll be lit in that way. Like, it won't, obviously it's not SEC or Big Ten football, but it'll be good games and just chaos. So you gotta love it.
You want me? I could do next 4 and then go from there.
Just do your wild cards
Oh,
and your group of 5.
ah, crap. Okay, so at 5, I've got the Oregon Ducks.
Okay.
I think the Big Ten Conference is going to be obviously really good, and Oregon's probably maybe their only loss is going to be Ohio State. Maybe
They got them at home.
Yeah, and even if they have one more loss, they can still easily get that 5 seed, just given how good the Big Ten is and how impressive I think that offense will be.
Yeah.
Then we've got at 6, we've got the Texas Longhorns.
Okay.
I think they get into that SEC championship. I think they're runners up. I think Georgia possibly drops that one game in Austin. Hopefully not. Win it for my birthday. I'll be there. But if they do that, then get revenge in the Big 12 or in the SEC championship. Can't get that right. I don't know what conference they're in anymore. But SEC championship, they get that. Georgia gets that dub, leading to the 1 seed with an impressive revenge win and their 1 loss. Exercise the demons, and then we've got Texas coming in. But I think either way, both teams are going to know they're in at that point. Then at 7, we've got Notre Dame. They've got an easy path.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil my pick for later, but they don't go undefeated into that. Obviously, they'd be 5 if they were.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they're undefeated, they're 5.
But that schedule's too easy. I think they drop a game. Not going to say which game. I'm not going to drop any spoilers for those big 6-0 podcast fans out there. But they're going to drop a game, and then their schedule is going to lead to pretty favorability, and if they don't make it, there's going to be some questions for free.
Yeah, with the schedule, honestly, like 10-2 at worst.
Yes.
And honestly, them at 10-2, like they could still make it.
I think that they'll make it if they go 10-2.
Yeah,
12
10-2.
teams.
Yeah, 12 teams. Yeah. I
Welcome
think
to
it was
the new college football.
Yeah.
more Notre Dame, is what we all wanted.
Yeah.
So you're on 8 now?
I'm on 8 and 9. The 8-9 matchup. I've got the Kansas State Wildcats.
Oh, okay, I see you.
You think that's an okay? We have them facing off the Virginia Tech Hokies.
What?
What a matchup. Yes, Dougie. You want to know why he's hyped? Because that matchup would feed the Georgia matchup.
Oh my God, nobody.
That would be ideal for
yeah, I was
us.
about to say that'd be awesome for Georgia, but nobody's watching that.
But
shit.
imagine, my logic's on this right here. Kansas State, you think, Ohio State's all hype about Will Howard. Avery Johnson ran Will Howard out of town. So I think the Big 12 is going to sort of cannibalize itself. Like I said, with the ACC, there's going to be plenty of teams with like 2-3 losses. West Virginia gets a great win over Kansas State. Avery Johnson plays fantastic.
Like an undefeated Kansas State or something.
Maybe a one-loss Kansas State that just had a close loss and then another close loss. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of teams that are losing games. And I think it's going to be like where people were like, Kansas State's going to win this game against West Virginia. West Virginia gets a knockoff dub. But we got to see Avery Johnson. And then we get to see him go into Blacksburg in a playoff game.
Okay.
Fantastic atmosphere there. Then at our 10 seed, we've got the Oklahoma Sooners. I was hearing some Oklahoma hate.
I'm sorry, dog.
I was hearing some Oklahoma hate. They're currently, or were up 34-0 last week. Checked on this Friday night over Temple. Temple could be a surprise playoff team.
It's getting too crazy.
Oklahoma.
But Oklahoma,
They got a tough schedule though.
they do have a tough schedule, but it's if not, Brett Venables going to be asking some questions. So it's a lot of make or break for a lot of teams. And I'm saying some teams are going to break, some teams are, until they say we don't want that extension anymore. Get the hell out of Oklahoma, bitch.
Okay.
They've said it before. Then at 11, we got another Big 12 team.
What?
That has been mentioned earlier on the pod. We got the Utah Utes
Okay.
squeezing in
Okay. That's
with 2
yeah.
losses, but not making the Big 12 championship.
Okay.
A lot of 2 losses in here. And then lastly, who cares? We got Liberty, I guess.
So here's my question with that.
Mhm.
What the hell's happening in the Big Ten and the SEC? Is it just like Georgia and Texas and Ohio State and Oregon and everybody else?
Yeah,
Where's
I mean,
Ole Miss?
basically.
Where's Bama? Where's Penn State?
Ole Miss out.
Are they just, is everybody else just like beating each other
I mean,
up?
3 losses doesn't get you in when there's a potentially, let's say there's a 2-loss Oklahoma, a 1-loss Texas, and a 1-loss Georgia.
Well, I got a little bit of an
I have a
option.
feeling mine's going to be closer to Jordan's. But,
Yeah, so I'll go 1 Ohio State, or wait, I already said it. One, if you didn't remember, 1 Ohio State, 2 Georgia, 3 Utah, 4 Miami. 5, David, I'm with you, Oregon. I think they'll split with Ohio State. They'll go 1-1 and they have the first game at home. So I'm gonna say they win that first game and lose the Big Ten championship. You already have your whole spiel about Oregon. I agree. 6, I'm with you. Texas.
Ooh, see?
So Texas, I'm with you. They're just way too talented. Sark, great play caller. Even if Quinn Ewers sucks, if you don't believe in him, like I think Arch Manning can go in there and get the job done. But yeah, the running backs are out, but I'm not that concerned. I have them with you. I'm just gonna say they beat us, and I say they lose to A&M, and then they lose to us again. But like people were like still like I don't know how many people are. I wonder how the committee's gonna look at like record and like who you lost to and everything.
I think it's going to be a lot of
hypothetical.
I think it's going to be a lot of hypothetical. We think this team is just better than this team because they're just going to want to put the best product on.
Exactly.
Because then in 2 years they can scrap the logic because they're going to 14.
Yeah, like the 10-2 or 11-2 in the SEC, the same as 11-2 in Big 12. So that's why I asked you about like what happened in the SEC and your little prediction.
Yeah,
thing.
Texas and Georgia just 1 loss beat each other, and then Oklahoma, let's say they lose to an Alabama or I don't know, did they play Alabama?
Yeah,
Yeah, an Alabama and a Texas. Those are their 2 losses.
Yeah,
but they're
no, I
close
agree.
losses.
I agree. And then they would have other good wins
Yeah.
like that, like Tennessee, and
Mhm.
I don't know, there's other games in there. I don't know their schedule off the top of my head. So 7, Ole Miss. So they got a favorable schedule. Their schedule isn't too bad. Jackson Dart, I feel like definitely Lane Kiffin's best team. It feels like you got to make the playoffs kind of year. They invested so much getting Walter Nolan from like A&M and a few other transfers and everything. So I feel like it's kind of like, come on, like you got to make the playoffs. So I think they'll go like 10-2 or some shit like that and end up making it. I think they can pull off an upset against like Georgia and get like a big win like that, but I think they'll get good wins and like can compete with Georgia at home and everything. So 8, I'm with you. Notre Dame, the playoffs schedule very favorable. You're not going to get an extra loss with the conference championship. They got enough good games if you can have good victories in there, but nothing too crazy where you're having like 4 losses. So I'll go Notre Dame. 9, Alabama. I think nice throw. I think their schedule's not easy, but I think they can definitely get the job done. They got enough guys, I feel like, coming back, enough talent in there, and DeBoer's, a solid coach. So, I'll say they go like 10-2 or something like that with it. So 10, I got Clemson, 8, Miami, Clemson ACC championship game. Clemson. I was between Clemson and Penn State a lot. But I was like, I'm not going to do like a whole wild card round just the Big Ten and SEC teams. So that was kind of my logic there. So I ended up going with Clemson. Their schedule's not easy, though. They got us. I think they got at Florida State. They do have at Virginia Tech. That's not going to be easy in November. So there's some possible losses in there. So I'm not super confident about them, but Dabo's a good enough coach. 11. I hate my life. Tennessee. I feel like people are low-key sleeping.
Bush light on that one.
Bush Light.
I feel like people are low-key sleeping. Nico's good. They got sneaky good defense. Schedule's not too bad. I feel like they definitely got to beat at least one of us or Bama to get in. But if they get in at like 10-2, and with losses to like Oklahoma and like us, and like end up beat Bama, I think they'll be in. I feel like they'll be in at 10-2. That's just kind of my logic. 10-2 in the SEC with how freaking stacked it is. I feel like if the committee's gonna disrespect the ACC or the SEC's gonna be pissed, and we don't want the SEC to be pissed, or they're gonna break off and leave. That's the whole thing. So. I feel like they're going to respect it. My first 2 teams out, like I mentioned before, Penn State, I think it would just be funny if they end up falling short of the playoffs when they are the best beneficiary to it. And I wonder how it's going to be looked at with, James Franklin, with that. He's not going to get fired or anything, but I would think Penn State fans would be pissed, personally. If they miss the playoffs, going 9-3 or 8-4, something like that. And I got Missouri. So I think Missouri will be good, but
What about your group of 5?
Oh, sorry, I didn't say my group of 5. Boise State, I guess. You said Liberty, David. I feel like Liberty, if they go undefeated, I wonder how they're gonna look at schedules with group of 5.
I think it's gonna be a tough argument to take
11-1 Mountain West or American Conference or 10-2 in the American would put them up against 12-0 Liberty, who did nothing and got their ass kicked by Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. If they had a close game in the Fiesta Bowl, and maybe, but they got their ass kicked.
Liberty's got to be impressive doing it, but their schedule is so.
Well, that's why I asked. If it's an 11-1,
Yeah.
10-2 Mountain West or American Conference, would they put them over them?
It's a good point.
It's irrelevant anyway. Spoiler: they're losing to Oregon.
What?
So yeah. So in my hypothetical. So Trey.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hypothetical records here based on schedule. So obviously 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Utah, 4 Clemson. I'm gonna go 5 Oregon again at 11-2.
Ooh, 2 losses. Do you have them?
Yeah, I got them beating Ohio State, getting upset once, then losing to Ohio State in that Big Ten
Okay, I like it.
And then at
Ooh.
6, this may come as a slight surprise. They play Bama and Ole Miss at home. LSU at 6 at 10-2.
Oh, you did. We're hyping up Nussmeier earlier.
And 7, 10-3.
Nussmeier, definitely.
They make the SEC championship over some random tiebreaker against Georgia, and they lose to Georgia again. Texas at 10-3.
So let me stop you there. I wonder how the committee, because we don't know what's going to happen. That's what makes it this year kind of interesting. We don't know how the committee's going to look at it, but how much do they influence a conference loss? You're essentially getting screwed for playing an extra game when in reality, honestly, being the 5 seed might be better than being the 1 seed.
I think just because
Right.
LSU at 10-2, in my hypothetical, they beat Ole Miss and Bama. Those are top 15 teams.
Yeah, but just asking the question in general,
Yeah,
what do you think the committee would
I
look
think
at that?
I don't think it's gonna
so in the COVID
I think
year
it's
on
gonna be.
Florida,
I'd rather them be playing in it.
so in the COVID
But
year,
how they look at a loss? How much do they influence one?
so
I mean, it
COVID
depends
year
who
when
you're playing.
Florida lost to Bama.
Texas, Georgia.
Florida was
yeah.
8-2 in COVID year. They lost to Bama in the SEC championship. They didn't drop a spot. They went to 8-3, the same ranking. So they're not going to adjust it much.
Yeah.
I don't think. And then so 6 LSU, 7 Texas. I'm gonna go 8 Ole Miss, 10-2, 9 Notre Dame, 10-2. Notre Dame's got an okay schedule, but Notre Dame will choke one. I'm gonna go 10 Miami at 11-2. Lose 1 regular season game. Lose to Clemson in the ACC championship. 11, I have them in Penn State, last at-large
Okay.
team,
I don't think
10-2. I mean, they're probably a top 10 team, honestly, just borderline. But
I mean, it's just them. They'll beat up on the teams they're supposed to beat.
they're like
Then when they play the elite teams, Ohio State and Oregon.
they're like Georgia with ranked with a less high ceiling, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say that's
And then
easy way to look
I'll
at
go
it.
with Boise State for the group of 5, and then
All right,
yeah.
give us your first round.
Yeah, go through your.
let's see. I'll go 5 Oregon beats 12 Boise State by a lot. I'll go 6 LSU beats 11 Penn State in a tight game. I'm gonna go Texas beats Miami. Then I'm gonna go Ole Miss and Notre Dame. That's a back and forth game. I'm actually gonna go Notre Dame gets a last second field goal and beats Ole Miss.
So with that, what are your quarterfinal matchups?
So quarterfinals: Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas, Utah, LSU, and Clemson, Oregon.
Ooh, Utah or Ohio State, Texas, good one.
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. So I'll say Oregon beats Boise State, Texas beats Tennessee. What would it be? 7 and 10. Ole Miss, Clemson. I'll say Clemson gets the dub against Ole Miss. We got to throw an upset in there. And then Alabama, Notre Dame. I'll say Bama gets the dub there. So I'll have Ohio State, Bama, Oregon, Miami, Clemson, Utah. Wait. Texas, Utah, Georgia, Clemson again. So.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I've got Oregon getting through in a tight one against Liberty. It's not going to be tight. So they'll be facing off with West Virginia after that win. Then I've got Virginia Tech. Blacksburg is too much for Avery Johnson. He just has a terrible game. He's just atrocious in Blacksburg. They get through and get to face. Congratulations, you get to play Georgia. And then I've got Utah beating Texas.
Ooh.
Utah is a bad matchup for Texas. They would ground and pound, beat them up, and Quinn Ewers is just going to get punched in the face. They lose that one in Austin. The fans are raging, so Utah gets the face off against Miami. Then I've got Oklahoma against another seed upset, beating Notre Dame, but I think people are going to know Oklahoma is the better team in that instance. So Oklahoma gets Ohio State, which, great matchup there, I think, Oklahoma, Ohio
All right,
State.
go with your second round. So we'll go back.
Ooh,
around.
we're going back. So that Oklahoma-Ohio State matchup, we've got Ohio State winning that one. I think they get through pretty easily. I mean, Oklahoma's just, they don't have the speed to keep up with that Ohio State team. Then I've got Utah beating Miami, seed upset, but I think we're going to know Miami in the ACC just aren't as good, and Utah's just going to be Cam Rising at that point.
The
They're
vets,
going to be slaying. Yeah, so I've got
tight end and a 7th-year quarterback.
Yep. Yeah, they're just experienced. I mean, Miami's just kind of they're a transfer portal team, but Utah's a veteran team too. So it's just like Utah kind of provides what Miami provides. Now I've got Georgia beating Virginia Tech. Got them getting through, no question about it. Go Dogs right there. And then we've got Oregon beating West Virginia. Unfortunately, my Mountaineers run comes to an end, but as my first year of my college football dynasty, or Craw McDaddy's first year of the college football dynasty, ended in a playoff loss, so will West Virginia's season as well.
Who did you lose to?
Not you, if that's what you're trying to refer to.
I thought maybe
I lost to Michigan.
Okay, so in mine, I got Ohio State beat Bama in a classic. I got Oregon beating Miami. You know, Cam Ward will have them hang around, but Oregon's a better team. I got, so it would be Texas and Utah. So I got Texas beating Utah, and then I got UJ beating Clemson.
That was the quarterfinal
rematch. Yes.
Let's see. I got in my bracket. I got 1 Georgia beating 9 Notre Dame, probably by 3 touchdowns or something. I got 2 Ohio State beating Texas, number 7 Texas, about maybe 7 to 14 points in that range. I got in a classic Utah 3, LSU 6. Utah beats LSU and gets to the semifinal. And then I got Oregon definitely beating Clemson in the 4-5 matchup.
All right.
And then the semifinals.
Yeah.
Let's see, Georgia, Oregon. Georgia's definitely just more talented, more elite athlete than Oregon. So Georgia's going to beat Oregon.
Dan Lanning ain't ready to beat Kirby.
Ohio State. Utah will make it ugly, but Ohio State's just too talented for Utah. So Georgia, Ohio State, and Natty.
All right. Yeah, I got an all SEC Big Ten semi rematches. Basically the theme. UGA beats Texas for the rubber match. I think they're just, comes down to coaching. Kirby's the best coach in the country. Maybe you'll get Kirby the first time, but second and third, I don't know if you're winning that. And then I'll go with Ohio State and Oregon play each other. I'll go with Ohio State. Like I said earlier, I feel like it's UGA and Ohio State versus the field. I think those are the best 2 teams. So I'm just gonna do that. Probably not gonna end up happening, but so I got Georgia and Ohio State in the championship.
Well, I don't know how many college basketball fans there are listening to the 6-0 podcast these days. I don't look at the demographics. I know host Walker Nunez looks at the demographics and the stats, but last year, going into the college basketball season, who were the best 2 teams? Connecticut and Purdue. Everybody knew it the entire 2 years. But getting into the tournament, still, 2 best teams. We knew it the entire year, but we said, no way they lead to a collision course. Maybe when you're the best 2 teams, you just end up being the best 2 teams.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to say Georgia, Ohio State. Sorry, went chalk. 6-0 podcast. You listen to all this just to get the exact same natty all the way through. But those are the best 2 teams, and there's a gap, too. It's not like, there's a third. People want to say Oregon, I think it's just trying to hype up another team. They're really good.
Well,
They're
maybe
really
I can hear out Oregon, but
there's a tier. There's clearly 2 good teams.
I agree.
It's clearly
just from even just a coach. Like Dan Lanning's a great coach, but he's still young.
Yeah, it's just can one of them make an upset? Can it be Ohio State plays 3 times and it happens like you and Oregon gets that dub the 3rd time? Completely possible. But if Ohio State and Georgia are not in the last 4 teams, at least the last 4 teams standing, I will be pretty surprised.
And here's something I want to say, the thing with Oregon, if you're going to say they're, on the UGA Ohio State level, you got to say Dylan Gabriel's, going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was good at Oklahoma, but was he ever, best quarterback in the country at Oklahoma?
He's not there for a reason.
He's definitely got to, I feel like he's definitely got to, improve. If he shows up the same kind of, putting in college football 25 turns, but overall, as he was this past year, I don't think so. So, I say that too. So, who do you got winning the whole thing? And give us a little score prediction.
Ooh, score prediction. All right. Going on the fly here. I've got the Dogs winning the Natty. Real shocker on the 6-0 podcast. So Justin Houston signed jersey didn't give that one away. I got the Dogs winning. I mean, Ohio State, they've got all the pressure. We've talked about it as a group behind the scenes here on the 6-0 podcast. But Ohio State, they've got 2021 Georgia vibes where if it's not now, it's never. Ryan Day is doing everything he can
literally
to bail out. He knows it's on the line. So I don't want to take up too much of what you guys say, but it's going to come down to a huge game. The best two teams, it's going to be close. It's going to be a toss-up. Do I think Ohio State's got a really good shot? Yes, but I think Georgia's been there before, and it's tough to pick a team against the team. I saw it when Alabama was doing the same thing. It's tough to pick against that team with less pressure in that situation because they know they've done it before. So I've got the Dogs winning the Natty, and I'll say 42-41.
There you go. Devin Miss kick at the buzzer again.
Just don't.
Yeah, I'm with David. I'm going with the Dogs. I think it's just a coaching advantage. Kirby's the better coach. I think both teams are really good. Like David said, it does feel like with Ohio State, it's kind of like, damn, if we're not winning this year, we're never winning this shit. So I'll go way lower score than yours. I'll say like 24-17. Ohio State's got a good defense. I think we like to play their style with like running the ball and playing defense. That's Kirby's MO. So I just think we're better doing it. I mean, Will Howard would have to just have the greatest game of his career. I feel like for them to beat us, like C.J. Stroud and Marvin Harrison did against us a few years ago. Like you have to have guys just to step up. So I'm going with the Dogs. I mean, but if I'm not allowed to go with the Dogs, I obviously say Ohio State's going to win the national championship, but not the case.
Well, let's see. Yes, I'm going with the Dogs as well, but listen to my analyst here.
Hear me out.
Think about it. The last 3 years, Georgia's been the best team, basically. I know Michigan won last year, but Georgia's been the most dominant team, for sure, in the country the last 3 years.
39 regular season games.
The thing about the teams that almost beat them, quarterback, receiver, every single time it's a elite quarterback and elite receiver.
I agree.
Ohio State's they lose C.J. Stroud, Marvin Harrison. C.J. Stroud's already a top 5-10 quarterback in the NFL. Marvin Harrison, A.J. Green type of player going to the NFL. I think, the recipe to beat Georgia was to have the best quarterback and receiving group in the country. Like Bama in 21, Ohio State in 22, the only teams that could compete with them. But Georgia now has the best quarterback arguably in the country, so what happens now? It's kind of like Bama in 2018 when they got Tua, who was should have won the Heisman until he got hurt in the SEC championship. It's like, how do you beat them? If you're Ohio State, I understand what they're doing, trying to beat them at their own game, having the best defense. But at the same time, Georgia still has a good defense.
A Georgia team with a great quarterback is a tough combination.
Yeah, I'm going to say Georgia 31, Ohio State 24. So in between y'all's in terms of scores, but I think Georgia's just the most balanced team in the country. This Georgia team is going to be like the 22 team if I had to compare this Georgia team to any Georgia team.
So let me ask you this. Since you brought up that quarterbacks and receivers are that's the MO of being UGA.
Yeah.
Who would you say would have a better chance to beat UGA at that point? Not who's the better team, but who has the better chance to beat UGA, like at Oregon or Texas, like Quinn Ewers and Dylan Gabriel have the potential to beat us, or still would you still say Ohio State? Even though they got Will Howard.
I think Ohio State's
solid,
I think Ohio State's the best bet of keeping it close. I think there's a higher percent chance against Oregon or Texas that they would get their ass kicked by Georgia.
What are the higher odds? Oregon's entire team having the best game they've ever played, or just Will Howard? Because the rest of the team, I mean, it's pretty even talent-wise, other than quarterback.
How about this? How about the team? Forget Ohio State, forget Oregon. The team that has the quarterback that breaks out might be the team that has a shot against Georgia.
Interesting.
Cool.
Like Jaden Daniels last year. I mean,
yeah.
Well, all that to have the exact same national champion and championship. All right, we won this.
You could have 100% just skipped to the end.
Yeah, we went with shock. Congratulations, we went with the top 2 preseason teams.
Although David had Virginia.
Yeah, not the year of bold. Bold predictions.
I went bold the rest of mine.
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
fair.
Presenting the cold, refreshing mountains of
Bush Light. I'm hammered.
So we're doing our week 1 picks. We're going to go with 5 picks or 5 games here. You can probably guess what the 5 games are. I also got Walker's picks in here. We're going to try to keep up with our picks, see how everyone kind of does in the year. Whoever joins the pod.
I'll take on the task of keeping up with the track with that.
And how Walker and I do. If you unison drink right there, you guys both took it at the same time. So
Hell yeah, bro.
So I don't know the spreads for all the games off the top of my head, but if you want to say who it thinks cover or whatever, go for it. But we're just gonna go straight up. So first game we'll go to, David, you kind of brought it up earlier, West Virginia, Penn State. I think Penn State dropped down to 7.5. I think they started off at like 10 or something like that, and now they're down to 7.5. In Morgantown, how do you think it's going to go? I mean, you already said. But Walker has Penn State, by the way. Penn State.
Walker Nunes picked Penn State.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going with the Mountaineers for this one. We did not go bold predictions this week, but if you would have asked me my bold prediction for this season, Penn State has at least 4 losses. That is my bold prediction. James Franklin is either gone or the hottest seat in America after this season. At least 4 losses. I think they have Ohio State, USC, and Oregon. I think they drop
Michigan,
all.
maybe?
I think they do not play Michigan. I think
I don't
they drop
think they
all
play
3 of those, and then I think they drop a random game because Penn State always does. I think James Franklin's always been an overrated coach. I think Drew Aller's overrated, and I hope you're 6-0 podcast fans and you're listening. Step up your goddamn game. You're losing at least 4 games this season, and starting with the Mountaineers tomorrow.
I'm gonna go with Penn State. I think I think it'll be a close game, but Penn State they beat who they are. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if West Virginia wins it. I'll be honest. This is one where I was kind of going back and forth. We haven't seen these teams play.
West
Honestly,
Virginia's amped. The Mountaineers
yeah,
are
like it's gonna be a crazy environment. We haven't seen these teams play. I have no idea how these teams look. I'm just kind of basing it off last year, and I think Penn State will improve. I was thinking about putting in my playoffs. I ended up not doing it. But 8-4, I think it's possible. But I'll say if they lose to West Virginia, I say your 8-4 thing's looking juicy. So, but I'll go with Penn State. I'm not that confident about it, but I think James Franklin's like good enough. Like you say, he's overrated, but like I feel like everyone kind of knows what James Franklin is.
I guess how overrated can you be if everybody thinks you're overrated?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of my logic.
Well, if they don't make that's a lot for them.
Yeah,
If they don't make the playoff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they don't make the playoffs,
like
that's why I feel like everyone would be kind of like going ham at them. So
which is why it's my bold take.
I'm gonna go Penn State. I mean, they're better than West Virginia straight up. I mean,
Virginia
I think they're borderline significantly better, so Penn State wins that one.
all right, next up we'll have UGA Clemson.
Oh, let's do UGA Clemson last.
Okay.
We have to give the score prediction for Georgia Clemson.
Okay, we're doing UGA Clemson last. Miami and Florida.
Okay, who am I going?
Yeah, you can go first.
All right. This game
I think it's Miami 2.5.
This game kind of reminds me of the Utah-Florida game a couple years ago in Gainesville, but I'm going to go with Miami 31-27. Close one. Last drive game.
So, I picked Miami to win the ACC championship. I hate Florida. Oh, the right fake field goal!
Oh my
Oh,
gosh!
shit!
Oh, man.
Oh, to the tail.
Western Michigan fake field goal
Yeah,
to end the third quarter.
We have the Western Michigan Wisconsin game on.
Wisconsin's on total upset alert, so we may be reacting to that during these week 1 picks. What a call
That was
from
crazy.
the Western Michigan Broncos.
So,
right there.
anyways, I hate Florida. But give me the Gators. I think Florida upsets. I think Florida's gonna be better than the record says they are. Their schedule's ridiculous. That's why I'm interested with Billy Napier. Because I don't feel like if they go like 5-7, like, yeah, it doesn't look great. But depending how they look, if they're in close games and they get a good win in there and everything, like, I feel like maybe the school will give him a break and give him another
There's
year.
already
But if he's going 5-7, get blown out by everybody, then then he's fired.
He's
basically.
already got the excuse built in. There's already an narrative that their schedule's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they even just are slightly competent during that schedule, people are going to be.
Yeah. So, but like Trey said, it does remind me of the Utah-Florida game from a few years ago, where Utah was getting hyped up. They won the Pac-12 that year, but people were picking them to go to the playoffs. They were that trendy pick to go in the playoffs and everything. And Gainesville's a tough place to play. So I think Florida can get it done. So I think they can get a big win in there. So better them than like us. So let's go Gators.
Great analysis all around there. Honestly, I went into this podcast thinking Miami comfortable, but what my fellow co-hosts of this podcast said.
I swayed you.
Yes,
here.
and honestly, yes, you did sway me. But honestly, what Trey said about comparing it to the Utah-Florida game, and then obviously you supporting that, but that resonated with me. I thought Miami, Florida's not very good. Miami should be better. But that's going to be an insane environment. It's a whiteout. Miami's trying to counter the whiteout with a whiteout, so I'm very confused. Whiteout on whiteout. But that honestly resonates. It's going to be a tough one. I still am going to pick Miami, but I'm going to pick them in a lot closer game. I'm not going to have them cover.
You're rolling with me.
Yes, I think.
Oh, you don't have coverage, so you have them winning by
I have them
point.
winning by 2 points.
Okay. Game point field goal?
If you're going to make me say, I'm going to say 32-30. I'm gonna say Florida.
David just thinking about.
I'm gonna say
Florida.
Florida.
He had Miami by like 30 before that.
I had them by 14. But now I'm thinking Florida misses a game-winning field goal.
Ooh,
it's gonna be a wild one.
Awesome.
I mean, also hate both teams to be honest, but great color game. The colors.
I agree.
That's why I'm a little disappointed Miami's going whiteout because great color game.
Yeah, I agree. Good helmet game.
Yes.
Walker has Miami, if I didn't say that. Next game would be Notre Dame A&M, where game day's going. Johnny Manziel is your guest picker. David, who do you got?
Whew. Well,
A&M -3.
I alluded to it earlier. This is a big game for Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they have a schedule, but they don't play in a conference championship. They at max, as plenty of the 6-0 podcast fans know, at max they can be a 5. So they need these opportunities. Texas A&M, on the other end, they play in the SEC. They've got plenty of opportunities to make this up.
Yeah.
But it's at Kyle Field. It's week 1. New quarterback.
Riley versus Elko.
New offensive system for Notre Dame. Tommy Reese, I believe? No, he's not there.
No, he was at Alabama.
But no, they have a new OC and a lot of new for Notre Dame going into that craziness week 1 environment. You've waited. I remember just that Notre Dame game for Georgia. We waited all off season. Wasn't a week 1, but we waited all off season. That crowd was amped. Texas A&M is going to be ready for that game. It's going to be tough. I still have Notre Dame in my playoff, and I have Texas A&M as my first team out of the playoff.
Ooh,
ironically, so this game doesn't have too much weight, but it's just a
sounds like
lot
it
going. No, because the A&M wins. Of A&M winning.
Oh,
A&M winning the game.
Okay.
Oh, did I not mention that? A&M. Aggies win the game.
Okay.
But there's a lot for Notre Dame that could go wrong. It's just very set up for A&M to win, in my opinion. A lot of pressure on Notre Dame.
Yeah.
A lot of factors against them.
All right, this is one that I've kind of been going back and forth on. I agree with everything you say, David. But give me Notre Dame. I feel like it's going to be a low-scoring game. And I feel like, I don't know. I'll be honest, I have no idea. Just Notre Dame. Trey.
So
Great analysis on this thing. This is what the fans tuned in for. I don't know Notre Dame.
Before my pick, I'm gonna say A&M's gonna beat Texas straight up. I got them beating.
I'm
Texas.
with you on that.
But I'm also gonna say this: Notre Dame needs this win. I think they're a better team. I could see them losing at the same time at Kyle Field, but I'm gonna go last drive. Notre Dame squeaks it out at the end.
Riley Leonard, clutch last drive.
All right, LSU USC, the Mason Vanderbilt Stein high school or elementary school matchup of the decade.
Yeah,
It's a
you guys
Vanderbilt
know
shadow.
I think LSU's like a decent team. I mean, I got LSU. I think LSU's defense regressed, but they still got talent. USC's just, defensively at the line of scrimmage, they're a mess. I got LSU, but I'm going to go 45-31.
Okay, so this is another one I was going back and forth on because I haven't seen these teams. I gotta watch these teams to know how they are. But both these teams are very similar. They're both replacing a lot, and we're both kind of a little disappointing this last year and everything. But they're both replacing Heisman winner quarterbacks. They got proven coaches, I guess, if you want to call Lincoln Riley proven, I guess. Defenses were both ass, and both had to get newsy seats and everything. But this is one that had LSU at first, and I was thinking USC, and Josh Pate picked USC. So I'm going with USC, fight on. I think it'll be high scoring, but I think it'll come down to turnovers. And I think USC will get more than LSU. That'll be the game. It'll be like 38-35 or something like that. Give me USC. Fight on.
In honor of the death of the Pac-12, I think we have major Pac-12 after dark vibes in this game.
Oh.
Just wildness in Vegas, late night. It's just going to be insanity.
Not late night. It's like a 7 on Sunday.
Yeah, but late night. Later in the night, I guess.
Would it even be night there?
I thought it was 10:30.
I thought it was like 7.
Well, either way, it's going to be a wild game. Both these defenses were awful last year. Two of the worst defenses in college football last year. Both of them atrocious. And like Jordan said, we have no idea if they've improved. We theoretically think they can't get worse, but they could stay the same, and we just have a ton of points scored. The turnover battle could come down to, I'm going to say simply, it comes down to whatever defense can get a stop. I don't care how you do it. Punt blocked, a punt in general, anything. And I'm going to say 48-45. Just wildness. Turnover. Even with some turnovers. Don't be surprised if there's a pick six just because it's craziness. And even if the defenses aren't good, just a terrible play, snap over the head. Who knows? We're in for a wild one in Vegas.
Who do you have?
Oh, did I say LSU? Go Tigers.
You never said it.
The editor, producer is gonna hate putting the little picture edits in because he's gonna have no idea which side I'm going.
All right, so
Could
we
be
had to
on
push.
game day.
Had to push this one back. UJ Clemson.
Walker.
Walker's thanks. Walker had LSU. So he had LSU.
Walker with all chalk. Let's just roast his picks all the way through.
Yeah,
any upsets from Walker? Did he do any research on these picks? Where's the analysis? Where's Walker?
I know, we're a little boldness.
Exactly. This is his podcast.
Where is he?
For real.
All right.
So we're gonna go with UGA Clemson. We will all be at the game, supporting our dogs, of course,
And Bush Light.
Bush Light.
Bush Latte.
And so it started out at UJ was like 11.5, then went up to 13.5, now it's back at 11.5. Looks like ETN, Mike is suspended, Roderick's hurt, so we're down to Branson. Clemson with Dabo, respectable program and everything, obviously. They've won, both those teams have won 4 of the last 8 national championships. So, who do you got? How do you think the game's going to go? What are you expecting?
I'll let Trey. This is your apartment. I'll let you go first.
Let's see. I'm going to go Georgia 31, Clemson 13. Clemson might be physical with Georgia to a certain extent more than other teams, but I think Georgia's got an extra gear that Clemson just cannot match on the offensive end. I think Clemson's defense is good, but I don't think they have any offense.
Yeah, I'll go like 24-10. I think it'll be a little low scoring. I think not having a right back will hurt because their D-line's so good. But our O-line's really good too, so I think it'll be enough. I think Beck will have to put the team on his back a little bit and do his thing. I think he will. But my main thing is, I just don't know if Clemson has the offense. Like, if Clemson had just a crazy stud receiver, I'd be a little bit concerned. But the receivers are solid, but they're like freshmen. So I feel like our secondary is going to match up pretty well against them, and I think our defense is going to do enough against Club Nick that it won't be anything crazy. We'll hang around, low-scoring game, but Carson Beck greater than Club Nick. That's it, basically my logic.
Boys, what a great week! What a great game to just start off the college football Saturday.
Yeah, you got
Noon,
it.
we get
Oh,
to
he
get
fumbled.
up
He fumbled.
right in the middle of my speech.
Yeah.
Georgia Clemson, Georgia Clemson.
3, 2, 1. Boys, what a way to start off the college football Saturday. We get up immediately. We get dogs at Clemson. This goes back to Kevin Butler from 63 yards draining it. Goes back to Todd Gurley. Nick Chubb's debut. Trucking guys, helmet off, running through. Little 13-year-old David Stein. Oh! Freaking out in the crowd. And we get to start in Mercedes-Benz against the Tigers. Two talented teams. But Georgia just brings too much. It reminds me, I don't think it's going to be this bad, but it reminds me of the Oregon game where we kept saying if Bo Nix shows up, they have a chance. Well, I don't believe in Cade Klubnik. I don't believe in the Tigers. I believe in the Dogs. We're picking the Dogs.
Let's go. All right, well, you heard it here first. Shocker, we all picked Georgia. Walker also picked UGA. So, happy college football. Enjoy the Labor Day weekend, boys.
Any 6-0 podcast fans at the game, come find us.
Yeah, well, we'll come out with an episode next week. And Walker will join. Bye.